right, hey people, it's time for News from Heaven. It's gotta be time for News from Heaven. Today we're talking about how to get an emotional revelation when you pray. I want to talk about praying for a second. Because you're telling me that there is a God who is the center of reality. Like what's happening, God's happening. God is what's going on. And that God is the answer to all of my problems. So are you lonely? Are you lost? Do you need healing? God can get all that done. So how do I connect then? If God is there, I want that stuff. How do I connect? And why would I be reaching out? What am I trying to accomplish if I do? That's what we're talking about today. This is one of those Swedenborg numbers that I bookmarked, and it's actually, I think it was 4 nights in a row. I came back, read this same passage, try to soak it in. What's he talking about? And then I would go and do it as I was falling asleep. I would try to go through these steps that he's talking about here. And I love this one because it gives you a clear definition of what prayer is. And it tells you how to do it in a way that's very clear and tangible. And then it tells you what prayer does, what you're trying to get from it in a way that it seems very plausible to me, and you can see the results very quickly happening in yourself. So this is Secrets of Heaven 2535. It says, regarded in itself, we start with our definition of prayer. Praying is talking with God while taking an inward view of the things we are praying about. So there's these 2 parts of it, talking with God and the inward view, and you have to have both of them because the inward view is actually where the response happens. You're focusing your words or your thoughts on whatever it is you're trying to talk to God about, but you're also focusing your imagination or your mental picturing mechanism on the thing that you're communicating with God about. In answer, we receive a similar kind of inflow into the perceptions or thoughts of our mind, so that there is some opening of our inner depths to God. That's what prayer does. It's an opening of our inner depths to God. You approach God, and through some kind of inflow, some sort of force that comes into you or can come into you when you've got this inward view and you're talking with God, our inner depths open to God. So what does that do? The experience varies depending on our mood and the nature of the subject we are praying about. Something about that is funny. What mood are you in? And the nature of the subject we're praying about, okay? If we pray, a lot happening in this sentence here. If we pray from love and faith and focus on or seek only what is heavenly and spiritual, something resembling a revelation emerges while we pray. So in this sentence, we get time frame. This is very quick service. While you're doing it, you can be getting the benefits from it. What is it that you get? Oh, nothing much. Just a revelation. And we're going to talk about exactly what that revelation looks like. But you also have conditions. It only works under certain conditions. You have to be praying from love and faith for things that are heavenly and spiritual. So love has to do with your intent. You have to be coming from some kind of altruistic intent. Faith has to do with your belief structure around the ideas of spiritual reality. So you have to have this intent to do good and have some level of truth or correct understanding of, for example, the nature of the being that you're approaching in God. And then you got to be looking for heavenly and spiritual stuff, which almost sounds like, aren't those synonyms, heavenly and spiritual? You're just trying to make it sound good. But it's technical with Swedenborg. Heavenly has to do with the love of what is good, and spiritual has to do with the love of what is true. So you need to be coming with an intent to be serving what is good and what is true. That somehow the thing you're asking for benefits that inside you, benefits that in the world. That's the key to unlocking the power of this prayer thing. So if we do all that right, we should get this revelation. But what kind of revelation is going to tell you, like, who built the pyramids? It discloses itself in our emotions. You feel the revelation. You feel, it's a feelings thing, in the form of hope, comfort, or an inward stirring of joy. So if you get your inner depths open to God, if you say, all right, I'm talking to you, so I'm focusing part of my brain on you, I'm picturing what I'm talking to you about, so I really care about this thing. Inflow comes in, opens the inner depths, and when we are open to the reality of God, it gives us hope and comfort and an inward stirring of joy. Just knowing whatever the truth of God is. It doesn't sound like you got a complete mental picture of all the reality around it, but you know, and at some level, you're getting some message that gives you this hope and this comfort. So prayer is a way to tap us into the truth, to the big picture. And when you tap into the truth in the big picture, it makes you happy. You feel happy. You feel hope, and you're able to move forward in the face of whatever you're facing that got you to be in this prayer position in the first place. Not only that, but it puts you in as a participant in a very grand tradition as well. This is a cool bit of trivia. I wasn't sure if I should include it, but definitely now that I looked over it, this is an interesting, inspiring part of it. That's why praying, in an inner sense, means experiencing revelation. When he says in an inner sense, here he's now talking about the text of the Bible. So when you hear about people praying in the Bible, it's talking about receiving this revelation. Particularly here, because it is a prophet who is being said to pray, and the prophet means the Lord. This is a place where Swedenborg is investigating the Old Testament and looking through it at the correspondential meaning inside. There's a prophet praying in the story. That means this is talking about the Lord, who Swedenborg uses that to describe Jesus as a shorthand, and Jesus being the human manifestation of God. So God, the person of God that you're praying to. So when the Lord prayed, he was simply talking inwardly to his divine aspect and experiencing a revelation. Jesus famously prays in the Garden of Gethsemane. Even on the cross, he says, why have you forsaken me? Forgive them, for they know not what they do. In each of those instances, he was going through the same thing that you and I go through, was focusing mind and imagery on this thing. And I bet receiving that kind of revelation, which is comfort, hope, and this inward stirring of joy. So this is a universal process. This is something that is guaranteed to make the world better. It's not like you can just, I want this to happen, please make it happen, and it happens and it wasn't the right thing. This is all about getting you opened up to experiencing the truth, and the truth itself makes you happy. And I think that's what God is trying to do with outreach. So it's cool to have a little way to, it's like you put a little, when you're at a restaurant and you put your little thing up that says, hey, I'm ready to order. There are certain kind of restaurants that do that, like Brazilian steakhouse or something. You put your thing up and says, I'm ready, come on over. That's what praying is. Strong metaphor to end on. Thanks for watching.